Hey everybody, join me today as I try to create my mantle and window trim kind of like a Macy's department store window. All right, we're going to work on the mantle now, and first thing I'm going to do, like I do with every mantle, if you know me, you know I always do this. I put a board on top of the mantle so that I can put screws in it and nails and so on. So let me go get that. I'll be right back. All right, so here's the board here, and you can see, and well, you really can't see from there, but I have a bunch of screws and nails in here, and that's because I've used it over the years, and I always put the garland in a different way. So, you know, it was weird because I have so many other projects that I'm working on, and I'm a little bit behind, and so I really didn't overthink this mantle. So actually what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be working through it while I'm with you here. And I'm still in the undecided stage, which at first I thought I was going to just run the garland straight along here and then down on each side. But the more I've been thinking about it, to kind of balance what's going on each side, I have the windows over here, and you know, with the garland on them, and there's circle tops, so they go up like this. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the swags like this. It'll kind of balance those two things. Now also I did you know, like kind of like a Ralph Lauren inspired thing. And I know a lot of people throw that around, Ralph Lauren. They use that word for, you know, for anything. If they add a little bit of tartan plaid or something like that. You know, he does a lot of things that are more natural looking, you know, the antlers and like the plaids and berries and things like that. So in that respect, that's why I'm using that term loosely, that it's a Ralph Lauren inspired. I don't want you to think that it's like, you know, real Ralph Lauren, because that's a lot of money. So what I have going on in the windows on each side is the berries, the red, black, gold, the tartan plaid and gold, and poinsettia kind of ribbon and so on. So I'm going to carry that out here. I think most likely I'm going to do a little bit more berries here. I might add a few ornaments. Not, you know, I always want to say it's not a typical thing of what I do, but it always turns out looking like me anyway. All right, so let's get started. I have to put the garland on here first, and then whatever nails or screws that I'm not using that is sticking out of this board, I have to get those out because they look bad. All right, during that little break that you had in there from one segment to the next, it's about 30 minutes later now, and I got this garland. It looks pretty sad right there, but I'm only using it as a base. That's why I didn't even bother to fluff it. So I'm just looking, you know, it's weird. In the camera, I can see it different than when I look at it, and I see that side is, this side over here is drooped a little bit. I have to fix that right there. But, you know, I had to make a decision on how I was going to do this, and that's, I told you before, I'm going to do the loops this year. I don't think I've done loops in a while, so I'm going to do that. But I'm going to put branches from an old Christmas tree in there to really build it up like I did on the wall unit with the bookshelves. I don't know if you caught that video. If you didn't, take a look at that. And any other videos I've been doing, our old 12-foot tree, I took a Sawzall and I cut all the branches off of it, and I use it to enhance a lot of the other stuff to make it look really full and expensive, you know, whereas this is just probably Walmart garland or something like that. So anyway, so I got the loops, and what I decided to do is not all the way at the end. I didn't drop it down that way. I came in a little bit where the mantle actually is, and come down that way, so that there's space between what's going on in the windows and what's going to be on the mantle. So like I said before, that's one of the things you have to think about, how you're actually going to put your garland. Is it going to be straight run? Is it going to be symmetrical? Is it going to be asymmetrical? And it's always best to think about it before. Although I didn't sit down and draw it out like I usually do, I gave it a little bit of thought anyway. So next thing you want to think about is where your remote works your TV. For example, when we first got this TV, I didn't realize that the part of the TV that reads the remote is right down here. There's a little silver line right there. And what happened was I had stuff on top of the mantle like that, and we couldn't change the TV. I had to keep getting up, looking over. I know, like the old days, right? But I had to hold the remote up like this, like at a crazy angle, and try to get it done. And I had to separate it out, and it was a pain in the butt. So again, try that. Try your remote when you have your garland up, and make sure that there's nothing in the way, because that'll be very annoying for you, and you don't want to do that through the holiday. All right, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to straighten out that loop, that one right there, and then I'm going to start adding in those branches. All right, so I started adding in the branches. I put one over here and one over here, and I'm going to continue. And I know if in the video it looks like that side over there is longer than that side, but in person it doesn't. So, but I'm going to adjust it because I don't know why it's looking like that. It needs to look the way I see it. Okay, so got the garland up. Now next is going to be the lights. And that's what it looks like with 300 lights. Next, I had to go through my berry pick stash, and I was looking for things that are similar. So I found two that were the same. So what I used those for was on the end. I put one at each end. Like sometimes I'll start in the middle, and sometimes I start on both ends. And this time I started on both ends, and then I'll come back and address the middle. So what I did was I took those picks and I really spread them out, and then I put another one in. I found two more that were similar, and I put those in as well. Then down at the bottom, I added some dangling, I don't know what to call them, they're kind of like drippy more, and just to give it a little bit more texture and so on. Next was some tartan plaid and the red ornaments, as you can see in the bin. I begin the ornaments by putting all of the same color in first. So I put all the red in, and then I went in with the gold, and lastly I went in the black. And when I do something like this that's kind of symmetrical or needs to be symmetrical, I work on one side and then I go on the other side, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And a lot of times what I'll even do is I'll separate the amount into two different bins so that I make sure that I have the same amount for each side. You don't want it to be lopsided on one side. Then for that natural look, I went in and I began to add some pine cones as well. And then last but not least, I went in and I added more berry picks. And as you can see, I'm showing you back and forth, back and forth. All right, so I had to stop videoing because the sun was coming through the windows and it was absolutely atrocious. I couldn't get the glare out, and it was worthless. Well, you saw the clips before. This is very difficult. So I'll just review what I did. It's done. I'm not going to show you the whole thing yet. I'm going to wait, but I'll show you the pieces of it. So I think the last thing we were looking at here was in the center. So like always, what I do is I either start in the center and then I go to the two opposite ends, or I start at the opposite ends and then I come to the center, which is what I did today. I started at the opposite ends. Why? Because I had two identical picks, so that was the obvious place to start on each side. And then I had one that was slightly different, so that's the one that went in the middle right here. So you can see I'm continuing with the berries in this room like I did on the wall unit, if you saw that video. And I also added this tartan plaid because it has a touch of a Ralph Lauren kind of a feel in here, like a natural kind of a thing. So I thought that was appropriate. Now to highlight that, what I used was red, gold, and black ornaments on here, as well as pine cones to give the natural thing. So what I did was, whatever I do on this side, I do on the opposite side. Then at each end, what I did was, again, like I told you, I had the two identical picks, so I made them identical. Same thing, I put the picks in, and then I added in the berries, the tartan plaid, and the pine cones. And that's that side. And then on the opposite side would be the same identical thing. The next thing that went in was the red ornaments. I put the red ornaments in, and then I put the gold ornaments in, and then I put some black ornaments in. And I don't think I did it as heavy as I normally do. And I like the way it looks, because a lot of times I pack it in that you don't even see the greenery, but I wanted it to have a little bit more natural feel. I like the way the garland looks this year with the picks in it, you know, with the old tree. So I think that looks good. Now, to tie it all in with what's going on in the snow globe room, which you didn't see that yet because I didn't put that. I only showed you the tree. I didn't show you the room yet. I'm going to probably do that video. But I added in these crystal droplets and the crystal beads in here for that little bit of what I think is like a touch of elegance for this. So here, no, Marianne, I'm going to do that later. I also added in these candles on each side. I didn't put the batteries in yet. So, I mean, you got to come back for the tour, right? So I'm not going to do everything right now. Otherwise, you're not going to come back. So I put those there. Now, down the sides right here I extended the garland all the way down. Why? Because I like the way it looks, number one. And number two is it hides the outlet and the wires. The outlet and the wires ruin the fantasy of the whole thing. So I wanted that hidden, so this is a good way to do that. Then down at the bottom right there, I used those really large ornaments, just like kind of like an anchor, like it ends right there. Candlesticks, this little truck, you know, sometimes we get air coming in from underneath the fireplace, so that will block it. That actually lights up. We didn't put the batteries in it yet, so you'll see that when you come back for the home tour. And then on this side as well, you see the candle holder, which has the tartan plaid and the large ornaments and so on. So that is the mantle. Again, now before I pull back, I'm going to show you the windows, what I did, which coordinates obviously with it. I outlined it with the garland, and then I used 3 types of ribbon. I used this poinsettia ribbon, which Marianne found in Costco a couple of years back. The tartan ribbon, which I can't remember. Where did we get that, Marianne? Do you remember? Is that Costco too?
Yes.
That's Costco too. And the gold glittery ribbon is also from Costco. And that's a really good deal because they're 50 yards for $7.99. Is that right?
Yes, I think so.
$7.99. Yeah, so it's a good deal. And then all of these berry picks are for real from the Dollar Tree. From the Dollar Tree. So again, Marianne does that in the summer. Like if there's a Dollar Tree near the ShopRite, and then, you know, she'll go in there and she sees them, and then she gives me a call and says, do we need berries? Do we need whatever? I didn't see them this year. I don't know. They didn't have them because obviously I think we would have got more of them because you can never have enough berries. Anyway, so that is the windows. Now up on the top to carry that theme that I have going on is another pair of deer antlers. I have some on the bookshelf in here, and then I have one on each top of the windows. And then we did these curtain lights right here, which they're LED, and I mean they go through a cycle. I think you can stop them and make them do just one thing, but I like it to go through the whole cycle. I like the way it looks. And then again here, I repeated that thought of the red ornament, the gold, and the black as well, and the pine cones. And then down here, take a look, is the antique horse. And why did I put him here? I put him here because we love him, number one. And number two is because on his saddle, there's that tartan plaid right there. So he looks like he was made for this area. And then what I did was I just like kind of spilled the ornaments out over here, making it look like it's pouring out and spilling out on each side. Then on these chairs, for right now, I have other pillows, I think, coming for here. But for now, I put the plaid pillows because I thought it went well. All right, I'm going to back up. I'm going to stop talking so you can take a look at this whole thing. And it's pretty nice, if I say so myself. Okay, everybody, thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got some tips that you can use in, to avoid any potential problems that you might be having. And look for the next video. It's be coming out shortly. Don't forget, comment and share if you can. Give me a thumbs up. It really, really helps my stuff get out to the world. All right, everybody, take care, and I'll be seeing you really soon.